Welcome to another Essential Series video. This will be part of a much larger series of tutorials focusing on marble and marble techniques. So in the first instance, we do need to have lots of reference images around us. So if we want to create white marble, it is worth a Google search to have something up in front of you that you can roughly sketch out, that you can roughly give yourself an idea of where to place the marks, how to develop the lines, and how to go about creating the most realistic effect we possibly can. To begin with, there are a couple of essential ingredients we need in order to create simple but effective marble techniques. The first is being baby wipes. So unbelievably, these are fantastic for using as a stencil. So we need to take a couple of these out, pull them off to the side and leave them dry out completely. Secondly, we do need Tamiya paints, so Tamiya clears to be more exact. Sorry for the low resolution picture, but you get the idea. These are perfect for pigmenting or creating any different unusual techniques. They're also great to use in red, yellow or green marbles, as you'd expect. So to begin the process, we need to grab our baby wipe and separate it out slightly. So I'm just pulling on it very, very gently until it starts to give. This way we're trying to just elongate and give a bit more variance, a bit more randomness to the pattern. I'm going to place it on top of a black undercoated, in this case it's a knight's shoulder pad. So I'm just stretching it out a touch more. Now, there are no hard and fast rules over how much you should stretch it, how much you should break it up. Experimentation is the key here. I'm still experimenting myself with this technique. These are my experiences using this particular technique. So stretch it out until it creates somewhat of a pleasing marble pattern. You can see just from the initial patterning, it will be successful. It already looks like marble. So we need to create something that's approximate to a marbling line. On top of this, I use white, so Medea Combat white through the airbrush, and then I use the hairdryer just to help it dry. I don't want it to completely dry and bind the baby wipe to the surface, but a couple of coats of the white should do the job. Hit it with a hairdryer again. I'm going to very, very carefully lift this off, making sure I don't disturb any of the underlying paint and making sure that there are no fibres left underneath. If there are, just use some masking tape to lift off any errant fibres. So every time you lift this off, it does feel a bit like Christmas. Wondering what you're going to get. In this case, a very, very, very successful white marbling effect. Now, I don't need to do anything else to this. At its most basic, this is the technique. Well, this is one of the techniques I'll be showing you. This is probably the easiest to get a hold of insofar as that we use a stencil to create the work for us. It gives a very, very convincing image. But it's vital. So this is a previous one that I'll be posting up. The one on the right I'm obviously more pleased with. But I will be posting up more ways in order to create the marble technique. Over this I apply a gloss varnish and call it quits. Okay, next up I want to create a gold or a yellow marble effect. So this is something I found online. I don't think it's actual marble, but you can see it's a really nice textured surface. And there's something I do want to bring into my Titanicus miniatures. So if you're working on Legion Gryphonicus especially, or if you might even be a good way to do the metallic trim surrounding the actual internal portions of the Warlord Titan or the Titans themselves, because so often the gold is just kind of taken for granted. You painted gold, use a sepia, Seraphim sepia or an oil wash over it and just leave it done. Why not use this kind of marbling technique on top? So unlike the other videos we'll be looking at during this series, I'm using yellow ink, so this is Inktensity ink. The reason is I did not, well, my yellow clear had dried up. So necessity being the mother of invention, I tried. So sometimes you can see the green in the background there. Sometimes the green separates out into yellow. So I was seeing whether I could get lucky, and I didn't. So I'm using yellow for this particular tutorial. What we'll end up with is a noticeably more matte surface, on top of which we can add some more layering techniques, and we can actually add a shadow to this, unlike the clear technique, in which case if you did want to add an artificial shadow, you'd have to put it in beforehand. But again, this is the start of the tutorial series. We'll be building step by step, inch by inch, getting a bit more complicated every single time. But as purely an entry into this series, I could not think of a better place to start. So I'm just going to mask off the white area. I want to keep that preserved. I'm using some cling film, and then I'll be using some white tack just to make sure it's secure and none of the ink kind of spills over. Okay, let's have a look at what it looks like with a single pass with the yellow ink. Looks pretty good, right? Just through one coat we end up with that result. So again, if you are painting any of your Titanica sets with any kind of yellow, you'll have lots and lots of large flat surfaces to work with. Why not try something different? Why not make your Titans stand apart and try giving them this faux marbling technique? Why not try giving them some texture? Because I think you'll see a lot of paint schemes out there, but I think a lot of them can look a bit boring because they're, again, large flat surfaces that you just want to paint in the colour. Maybe use a bit of colour modulation, maybe you want to use the pre-coat technique, which we're kind of doing here, but why not make yours stand out a little bit more? So unlike the Tamiya method, I am using, I think it was a touch of red ink in here as well, just to shade it slightly, give it a bit more nuance, give it a bit more of a natural appearance, rather than just having it like a straight yellow. And that's it for today's video. So we've covered yellow and white. Thank you very much, guys, for joining in on this. Hope you enjoy it, and here's to more marble tutorials, plural. Blah.